Khẩu xe kìa. Đấy chưa?
Lửa nó trên nước rồi.
Còn mỗi khẩu xe.
Đây là chưa vào được nhà trong nhà em khô đây mà.
Trên kia có con xe con chết rồi.
Cái này mà anh không biết đường ở đây à? Chứ đường này đi làm sao được, chỗ này là ngập sâu nhất.
Thai Nguyen, Vietnam. In the early hours of June 30th, 2025, the northern Vietnamese province of Thai Nguyen was struck by one of the most severe flooding events in recent memory. Triggered by relentless overnight downpours, the floods inundated major urban centers, disrupted transportation, displaced hundreds of families, and raised urgent concerns about the region's preparedness for climate-induced disasters. According to the National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting, rainfall began intensifying late on June 29th and continued unabated into the morning of June 30th. Between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. alone, Quan Chu Town recorded 46.8 millimeters of rain, while Bin Sun Commune saw 45.6 millimeters. These figures were only a prelude to the deluge that followed. By dawn, water levels in Thai Nguyen City, Song Tsong City, and Pho Yen City had risen dramatically, with floodwaters reaching depths of 30 to 50 centimeters in most areas. In some low-lying neighborhoods, residents reported water levels exceeding 1 meter, submerging vehicles and cutting off access to homes and businesses. The flooding brought daily life to a grinding halt. In Thai Nguyen City, major roads such as Luong Nak Nguyen, Hong Van Thursday, and Min Ka were rendered impassable. Public transportation services were suspended, and schools and government offices were forced to close. Social media was flooded with images and videos showing cars nearly engulfed by water, residents wading through waist-deep floods, and emergency responders navigating submerged streets in inflatable boats. Local resident Nguyen Thi Lon, a shop owner in Pho Yen, described the chaos. I woke up at 4 a.m. to find my entire ground floor underwater. We had no warning. Everything happened so fast. Authorities acted swiftly to deploy emergency response teams. Over 100 households in Thai Nguyen City and Song Tsong were evacuated to temporary shelters set up in schools and community centers. The provincial government coordinated with the military and Red Cross volunteers to distribute food, drinking water, and medical supplies to affected residents. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment issued a Level 3 disaster warning for the region, citing the risk of continued heavy rainfall and potential landslides in mountainous districts such as Dai Tu, Dong Hai, and Phu Luong. Flash flood alerts were also issued for small rivers and streams throughout the province. Preliminary assessments indicate significant damage to infrastructure. Several bridges and culverts were reported to have sustained structural damage, while power outages affected thousands of households. Agricultural losses are expected to be substantial, with rice paddies and vegetable farms submerged just weeks before harvest. The Thai Nguyen Department of Agriculture and Rural Development estimated that over 1,200 hectares of crops were damaged and more than 300 livestock animals were lost. The economic toll is projected to run into tens of billions of Vietnamese dong. This flood is the latest in a series of extreme weather events to hit Vietnam in 2025. Just weeks earlier, Typhoon Yagi battered the northern provinces with wind speeds exceeding 220 kilometers per hour and rainfall surpassing 400 millimeters in some areas. The storm left a trail of destruction across Quang Ninh, Bac Giang, and Lang Son, displacing thousands and prompting a nationwide humanitarian response. Experts warn that such events are becoming more frequent and intense due to climate change. What we're witnessing is not an anomaly. It's the new normal, said Dr. Lu Thi Min, a climate scientist at the Vietnam Institute of Meteorology, Hydrology, and Climate Change. Vietnam is among the countries most vulnerable to climate-related disasters, and we must invest in resilient infrastructure and early warning systems. In a press conference held on the afternoon of June 30th, Deputy Prime Minister Tran Lu Quang emphasized the government's commitment to disaster response and climate adaptation. We are mobilizing all available resources to support affected communities. At the same time, we must accelerate our efforts to build flood-resilient cities and protect our most vulnerable citizens. The Ministry of Construction announced plans to review and upgrade drainage systems in urban areas, particularly in flood-prone provinces like Thai Nguyen. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education and Training is working to ensure that displaced students can resume their studies through temporary learning centers and online platforms. Amid the devastation, stories of resilience and solidarity emerged. In one instance, a group of university students formed a volunteer brigade to assist elderly residents in evacuating their homes. Local businesses offered free meals and shelter to those in need, and social media campaigns raised funds for relief efforts. Nguyen Van Hoa, a retired teacher in Song Tsom, summed up the spirit of the community. We may be soaked and shaken, but we are not broken. We will rebuild together. As rainfall continues to threaten the region through July 1st, authorities are urging residents to remain vigilant and heed official advisories. The National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting predicts that rainfall could reach up to 150 millimeters in some areas, with isolated pockets exceeding 300 millimeters. The floods of June 30th, 2025, serve as a stark reminder of the urgent need for climate resilience in Vietnam. While the immediate focus remains on relief and recovery, the long-term challenge lies in transforming this vulnerable nation into one that can withstand the storms of the future.
Nào có ô tô bỏ tầng hầm á, ra mà chạy xe đấy nhá, ngập hết tầng hầm rồi. Đấy.
Cổ xe kìa.
Rửa cái trên nước rồi.
Còn bốn đầu xe.
Đây là chưa vào được nhà trong nhà khô đây